These are from their physician kits in the tombs. National Geographic in volume number 5, 1980, noted that this was no crude technology, that under 10,000 power magnification, that their obsidian blades were sharp and keen, while modern stainless steel scalpels were pitted and irregular.
We need to say that again. Would you repeat that again for the sake of this audience?
National Geographic noted this, that the obsidian scalpels, and I have one that's minuscule, it's so small for surgeries in this surgeon's kit, that what they did is, under 10,000 power magnification, their obsidian scalpels are sharp and keen, whereas modern stainless steel scalpels are pitted and irregular. In fact, Dr. Donald Crabtree, an anthropologist, he had open heart surgery. He used the ancient obsidian knives for the doctor because it cut quicker and sharper, and it did not bruise the cells as much, and it healed faster. So we have several examples. In fact, they made their tweezers like similar to small clamshells, and I have ones right here in bronze. It works better than our tweezers. This thing that's maybe 2,000 years old, if you do like that, it works better. And I've used this before. This ancient piece of medical technology surpasses ours. Of course, in some ways, they were behind us. But there's no doubt that we're dealing with an advanced civilization.
So the technology was here. Now, describe to us,
for instance,
what is
we
found?
have on the Ica stones. Many people have disqualified them because they said, look at that, pre-Columbian men with telescopes. Ha, ha, ha. Galileo invented the telescope. Well, I'm sorry if there's any Italians watching, but Galileo did not invent the telescope. Emperor Chan, the Chinese emperor in 2283 BC, he put together lenses and studied the planets. We know that, for instance, here's a piece of pottery, Greek pottery, 86 BC, and we have a Greek looking through a telescope.
Yes.
The Mayans, in their codices, they mention the smoking mirror. They were aware of over 400 references to the constellations, and they knew about Uranus and Neptune was not discovered until the late 1800s, 1850s, astronomically, and they have found tubes and convex mirrors. In fact,
here they are.
Here we are.
Represented on these stones.
We know that the Romans, the Assyrians, the layered lenses, some of these lenses had to have been done by lathes because there's a process called the terradial process for making lenses. It wasn't until after the turn of the 19th century, somewhere less than about 100 years ago, where we developed the same process. The ancient people were studying the heavens, and the Ica stones do have some men with telescopes.
In fact, from Abraham's day on, we have references to the heavens being studied.
The thing that makes most paleontologists pale and gives them a passport to paranoia is the fact that hundreds of the Ica stones have dinosaurs on them. Some dinosaurs interacting with men. This is an example of a Nazcan burial stone. This Nazcan burial stone was found in 2001. Some famous archaeologists were involved. We know that this stone dates somewhere between 400 to 700 AD. It has 2 dinosaurs on it. And if you look closely, you'll see a high concentration of saltpeter.
Yes.
This is a rarity in the desert. Most all objects have no saltpeter from Atacama. This shows that it has to be hundreds of years old. If you look closely, there's an even patina over the stone.
Yes.
There's a wearing away of dermal spines. Dermal spines, as you well know, were not discovered to have been on dinosaurs until 1992.
That's correct.
Here's a stone anatomically correct. We also found on this stone lichen colonies that are supposed to take hundreds of years to grow. And there's a concentration here of blood where the mummy, when was put in the tomb, the mummy's cranium rested on that stone for centuries. And there was a little bit of scalp and tissue that was diagnosed by Paragon Genetics Laboratory here in Dallas, Texas. They could not get a DNA sequence, but they did diagnose it and scientifically as human. And Dr. John Moreno, one of the greatest Andean scholars, says, yes, this is a colloquial term. It's called a burn. It is ancient blood on this stone. Irrefutable evidence.
Marvelous.
And then we have done many microscopic analysis. One is Palm Laboratories, abrasive company in Portland, Oregon. I hope this is fascinating to our audience.
It is more than fascinating.
Okay. There are critics who have said, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, some of the other stones that is documented in 1571, 1535, yeah, they're ancient engraved stones, but the dinosaur ones are not. Put up a dinosaur stone. I've always put up the dinosaur stones for any independent investigation. The stones that I have. Also, some of the stones were taken to Palm Laboratory in Portland. They have hundreds of thousands of dollars of high-powered microscopes and an RO1 video probe. Quickly, what it does, they also measure within 1/50 millionth of an inch for aircraft parts. We put a bogus stone that was freshly carved, a Cabrera stone, and the Noskin stone. And what they found was, if you will look, irrefutable evidence. This is the dinosaur stones. And here's what it is. We have patina in the grooves.
Yes.
You'll see here that we have lichen colonies growing.
Critically important.
You have pitting and fissuring, and under high magnification, you also have where you see the incrustations and the patina growing into the grooves.
Now, we're going to run a scientific experiment at this time. Dr. Swift brought with him, if you'll step to the controls, we'll be looking over your shoulder, and he brought with him one of these extremely expensive programs. This is a burial stone. Is this from the Nazca area?
This burial stone is from the Nazca area. And what we have here, this technology is so high-tech, it was featured on CSI Miami, one of their investigations. This ProScope digital microscope is used in forensic laboratories. It's small, like a hairdryer, very small, minuscule hairdryer, but it magnifies up to 500x. Now, I have up to 200x here, 200 times. And what it does is, they do it in crime investigations. You can take it, and we can see right now, if you'll look closely.
Now, first, before we look into it, Dennis, I want the audience to know that we have a drawing of a dinosaur, Spinosaurid dinosaur, with the rosette patterns on his side on the skin, which was not known until 1992 to modern science. That's one of the areas where these stones were criticized because of these rosette patterns. But in 1992 in Scandinavia, they found dermal frills and rosette patterns on the sides of dinosaur skin. So now, if this stone is genuine, Dennis, that means that this dinosaur likeness represents a first-hand eyewitness account or memory in modern times of a living, fleshed-out dinosaur. Can you take us inside the grooves?
What we have is, at magnification, this is 50x power. And when you look at it, you can look on the screen right now, the magnification right here, you see the bumps and everything else. You do not see, when you carve something fresh on an andesite stone, when you carve into the groove, you break the patina.
Yes.
And underneath, there is feldspar and mica. Under a microscope, it's like it'll gleam back at you like a diamond.
Yes.
There is no evidence on these stones.
The patina is in the grooves.
You have patina in the grooves. We have a triceratops and some kind of Spinosaurus type dinosaur on the stone. And also what we discovered, there's no evidence of rotary powered tools used on these stones. Some of the critics say, oh, they did it with Dremels or dental drills. No, because when you do that, it gives a whir, and it leaves contours, and it breaks the stone.
It breaks the stone and the surface.